Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Anti-News Podcast. I'm your host, Katie Grasso, and thank you for tuning in. Today's date is November 29th, and as always, I've got 5 happy stories for you. First off, a new marine highway is made. Experts find bees in an unexpected place. And a kid's wish that helps the community. After the music break, a world record for most premature baby is made, and a 4-day work week might be coming sooner than you think. The first things we think of when we think of highways are long car rides, traffic jams, and large gas stations. However, there are other kinds of highways. For a start, wildlife highways are bridges of land that often go above highways and roads, and are meant to help wildlife safely cross without running the risk of becoming roadkill. There are also marine highways, which are designated areas of the ocean where fishing isn't allowed so as to protect marine wildlife that travels there. The Galapagos Marine Reserve is the biggest one in the world at 133,000 kilometers squared, and it's just been announced that it's gonna get even bigger. During the last climate summit held in Scotland, Ecuadorian President Guillermo Lasso announced an expansion of 23,000 square miles, nearly 15 million acres, to the marine protection around the Galapagos Islands. He also announced that a protected swimway between the Galapagos and the Cocos Islands National Park in Costa Rica will be created to protect endangered migratory animals such as scalloped hammerhead sharks, whale sharks, rays, sea turtles, and tuna. The area already has a fleet of ships there to protect it from industrial fishers who would harvest fish there. The new protection has spurred on the members of the Galapagos Conservancy, who primarily work to protect, study, and breed giant land tortoises, but they are also active marine conservationists. The group gave the following statement: Galapagos Conservancy will continue to fund the Galapagos National Park's patrol boats to keep industrial fishing out of these precious waters. What's more, we have groundbreaking new marine projects well underway for 2022, including more grants focused on marine conservation than ever before. We hope that this agreement between Ecuador and Costa Rica will serve as a model for multinational collaboration in marine conservation going forward. I think I've brought this up before, but if everything on land were to die, everything in the ocean would be fine. On the other hand, if ocean life were to die off, we'd be close behind. It's important to protect marine animals, not only to preserve nature for future generations, but also for the current generation. No one wants to see the world die, but it's up to all of us to take care of it, so that we all may enjoy it. For as well mapped as our world is, there are small pockets, even in large cities, that can still hold surprises for us. There are spots that aren't exotic or mystical, but are unexplored because they aren't exotic or mystical. For example, growing up, there was an abandoned building that, while I was curious about, I never got near because it was just an abandoned building. It wasn't until years later, when it was being torn down, that I learned that there was 2 stories and that the upper floor had blue-green walls. Similarly, it wasn't until one man went into an abandoned garden that he discovered thousands of possibly extinct bees living there. In an ancient oak woodland at Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire, England, 800,000 native honeybees were found by Philippe Salvini, a beekeeper for more than 40 years. The bees were found living in tiny hollows in oak trees, which is normal for the species, But what was unusual was that the bees had never been seen in Blenheim before. The first thought was that these were domesticated bees that had left their keeper and had decided to settle there instead. But experts think otherwise. They believe that these are the last descendants of the British Isles' original forest honeybees. A wild bee that has adapted to the environment is called an ecotype, and this bee could be a very precious ecotype. The first wild bee that is completely adapted to living in the oak forest, Salvini told The Guardian. The bees found living in the oak trees are smaller, darker, and furrier than imported European honeybees. They've also shown a resistance to temperatures as low as 4 Celsius, which is 10 degrees lower than what causes normal bees to stop flying. The low temperature also wards off the Varroa mite, the enemy of the bee. On top of that, despite not having been treated for mites, the bees aren't dying off either. It's easy to think of exploration and discovery on the scale of lost cities and ancient treasures, but it's just as important to look for the small discoveries too. It's important to be curious and to see things from a different perspective. After all, the next big discovery could be right in your own backyard. The Make-A-Wish program is designed to give critically ill kids a wish of whatever they want. Since their founding in 1983, Make-A-Wish Canada has granted over 35,000 wishes, 1,000 during the last year alone. Wishes have ranged from meeting celebrities, going on trips, getting to do their dream job, and many other things. Usually, the wish only helps the kid making the wish and their family, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course, but it's nice to see a wish that helps the community as well, as was the case with Abraham Olagbegi's wish. At 12 years old, Abraham was told that without a bone marrow transplant, the rare blood disease he had been born with could become fatal. 1 year, 1 successful transplant, and some intense chemotherapy later, Abraham was doing much better. During his treatment, he learned that he was eligible to receive a wish from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Rather than using the wish on himself, he used it to better his community, and wished for the foundation to feed the homeless in his area once a month for a year. While wondering why her son didn't use the wish on himself, Abraham's mom wasn't surprised by it either. Before being diagnosed, Abraham and his family regularly volunteered in their community by handing out hot meals to the homeless. He told WLBT News 3, "It was always a good thing to do, and that's what I grew up doing then. So I go back to my roots to do what I was taught to do." Linda Sermons, an assistant at Make-A-Wish Mississippi, added in an interview with the same news station, "When he so easily gives to others at a time where everybody should really be supporting him, you just have to say, that's a remarkable young man." Every third Thursday of the month, Make-A-Wish Mississippi's chapter works with Abraham to hold an event called Abraham's Table, where they feed as many homeless people as possible. Even after the year is done, Abraham says that he plans to continue helping others however he can. This just goes to show, no matter what's going on in your life, you have the power to help others. While having an organization like Make-A-Wish help you is a plus, you can still do things on your own. See if there's a homeless shelter in your area, and if they're looking for volunteers. There's plenty of people who need help. All it takes is taking that first step to help others. One thing that can help people feel better is music. So let's go to the music break. That was House by Bensound. Now on to the last two stories. There are many things that can go wrong with a pregnancy, and one of the more common complications is premature birth. A premature birth is when the baby comes 3 weeks or more before their due date. A normal pregnancy lasts for about 40 weeks, so if a baby is born before the 37th week, they're considered premature. As you can imagine, a baby being born during the 21st week would be absolutely tiny and in danger of medical complications. But despite the risks, one such baby born at that time has defied the odds and is doing well. Michelle Butler's pregnancy seemed to be right on track when on July 4th, 2020, she had to be rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. She initially went to her local hospital, but was immediately transferred to the University of Alabama at Birmingham, which is well known for having one of the best neonatology and pediatric departments in America. Thanks to the quick work of the staff at the Regional Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, Curtis Butler was delivered at 21 weeks and 1 day of development. He was born almost 19 weeks early and weighing in at only 420 grams, which is about the same weight as a soccer ball. Michelle told Guinness World Records in an exclusive interview, "The medical staff told me that they don't normally keep babies at that age. It was very stressful." Despite his low odds of survival, Curtis responded extremely well to treatment, and with the help of around-the-clock care, he grew stronger and stronger. Dr. Brian Sims, the neonatologist who watched over the delivery of Curtis and helped with his treatment, said, "The numbers say that babies at this age will not survive. Mom's question to me was, can we give my baby a chance?" Giving Curtis a chance is what they did, and after 9 months of intensive care from the huge team at the RNICU and the wider Women and Infant Center, he was finally able to go home. Curtis needed a tailored course of medication and special equipment, such as bottled oxygen and a feeding tube, but his parents were elated to finally bring their son home. Curtis celebrated his first birthday on July 5th, at which point he qualified for the Guinness World Record for the most premature baby to survive. The odds of a baby born this premature surviving are incredibly low, so Curtis surviving is nothing short of a miracle. So many things could have gone wrong, and for many preemies they do. So every time things go right, it's cause for celebration. Whether you believe in God, fate, or some kind of cosmic force, while things don't always work out the way we want them to, it's important to cherish the moments when they do. The average work week in most of the world is 40 hours. As there's 168 hours in a week, that comes to almost a quarter of a week spent at work. Typically, people will work for 5 days straight before getting 2 days off, though it varies depending on the industry or if you're working full-time or part-time. Either way, it can be mentally and physically exhausting, and with more and more people getting multiple jobs, that exhaustion is just getting worse. We've already made the move from 6-day work weeks, so why not make the move from 5-day work weeks? That is exactly what one organization is trying to do, and they've brought their services to Ireland and the United Kingdom. The non-profit 4-Day Week Global was founded by Charlotte Lockhart and Andrew Barnes to fund research into 4-day week practices and the future of work and workplace well-being. Their studies showed that 63% of businesses had an easier time keeping employees on a 4-day week, and that 78% of those employees were happier and less stressed out. Their plan is to reduce the work hours from 40 to 32, while letting people keep the same amount of pay and benefits. This will improve work-life balance, productivity, and help to avoid worker burnout, which many people suffer from at some point or another. One misconception is that companies joining this program will operate from Monday to Thursday, but in reality, employees will most likely have their days off staggered. For example, someone could get Monday, Wednesday, and Friday off. It all depends on what the job is. Trials done in Iceland and Spain, as well as other countries, have shown that the program is effective and benefits both the employees and the employers. The world has changed drastically from when people used to work 6 days out of the week, and for the most part, it's been for the better. As society evolves and technology improves, there's less need for people to be breaking their back over their work, whether that's sitting at a desk staring at numbers, lifting heavy objects, or more literally breaking backs as a chiropractor. If you want to know more about 4-Day Week Global, I'll put a link to their website in the description. Hopefully, more companies adopt a 4-day work week so that we can all enjoy the most of what life has to offer. Here's today's advice. Have you ever pulled up to a gas pump while driving, only to realize that the fuel tank is on the other side of your car? If so, an easy way to remember which side the tank is on is by looking at the gas gauge. There's an arrow next to the symbol which points to which side the gas tank is on. So as long as you remember to check that, you shouldn't ever have to realign your car with the gas pump again. That's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to support this podcast, you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Google and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spreaker. Links can be found in the description, and until next time, remember that there is still some good in the world. You just gotta look for it. Take care out there, everyone.